한반도에서 북방까지 길을 열면 시대가 열립니다. 안녕하십니까. 북방경제협력위원회 위원장 박종수입니다. 올해는 아주 특별한 해입니다. 대한민국이 북방 12개 국가들과 수교 30주년을 맞이하는 그런 해인데요. 수교 30주년을 계기로 북방 국가의 주한 대사님들과 함께 이야기를 나눠보려고 합니다. 귀한 분들께서 자리를 함께 해주셨습니다. 먼저 람스 테이무로프 주한 아제르바이잔 대사님을 소개해드립니다.
Thank you very much for your introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
예, 다음으로 오타르 베르제니쉬빌리 주한 조지아 대사님을 소개해드립니다.
안녕하세요, Chairman. It's a great opportunity for us to be here.
카스피 연안의 아제르바이잔과 흑해 연안의 조지아는 국경을 맞대고 있는 이웃 나라인데요. 양국 모두 대한민국과 수교를 맺은 지 올해로 30주년이 되었습니다. 북방위원장으로서 수교 30주년을 맞아 두 대사님과 이야기를 나눌 수 있는 매우 감격스러운 순간입니다. 아제르바이잔과 조지아 두 나라에게 대한민국과의 수교 30주년이 어떤 의미인지 궁금합니다.
Overall, I would like to summarize that Azerbaijan and Korea enjoyed friendly relations in past 30 years. If we take a look to what we achieved in 30 years, I would say that we had an exchange of high-level visits that includes the heads of states. The president of Korea visited Azerbaijan in 2006, and Azerbaijani president made an official and a working visit to the Republic of Korea twice in past two years, and definitely those visits created a very good basic, especially legal base, for the further development of our bilateral relations. I'm happy to say that in both in economic, in cultural, in political side, we are enjoying very fruitful cooperation with the Republic of Korea, and I must highlight that the Republic of Korea is one of the biggest trade partner of the Republic of Azerbaijan in Asia.
Thank you.
I think that 30 years, it sounds, I think that 3 decades, it's not so big time, but I think that our people and the governments enjoyed a lot in terms of the exchanging of the high-level visit, especially in the, I would like to emphasize the parliamentary dimension because it's played the crucial role in terms of the approximation between our people and the governments, especially in the last years. And I would like to emphasize that both of our countries, one of the oldest countries in our globe, and we have so many things to find in the future in common, and I think that we have very successful relations in this regard, and hope is going to continue and deepen years to come.
주한 아제르바이잔 대사님께서는 한국에 온 지가 벌써 9년 되셨고 조지아 대사님께서는 5년째라고 들었습니다. 직접 살아본 대한민국은 어떤 나라인가요?
Well, overall, I must say that Korea is my first post in Asia in my capacity as a diplomat. But overall, in past 9 years, I had many things I would like to say got my interest in the Republic of Korea. In terms of culture especially, I am very excited with the rich culture of the Republic of Korea. I had a chance to visit many cities of the Republic of Korea that includes Gyeongju, Gwangju and Andong cities, such historical places. But the most important episode is that I highly appreciate it, and it was my great pleasure to see that how Korea is highly valuing its historical and cultural, let me say, heritage and preserving and continue to do its best to pass it to the next generation. I think that was one of the most important ones.
Thank you so much. For me, in my perspective as an ambassador here, this is my second posting, but first one in Asia. And it's really something miraculous was happening in Korea. For me as a diplomat was the first impression to coming here to see how these people are day and night working in terms of the advance this country in front of the international community, which is you are doing very successfully. And for me, the most impressive, and still is the most impressive, is that in this last 30 years, how this country became from the recipient, the donor country. Like this is the one of the most role models. What all of us, like have to share your experience and cope in this regard. And I think that this is the one of the most important dimensions in terms from our perspectives to bring the know-how in our part of the world and to bring Korea more in our region, because that there is a lot of things to develop and a lot of things to share in our daily lives as well.
Thank you. 30년이라는 시간이 짧으면 짧고 길다면 매우 긴 시간인데요. 수교 30주년을 맞이한 오늘날 아제르바이잔과 조지아에서 대한민국이 갖는 위상이 궁금합니다.
Well, I must say that Korea is definitely very well known in Azerbaijan, not only in terms of its products like Samsung, Hyundai, which are very prominent, LG and others, but also K-pop and K-culture is very popular in Azerbaijan. And I must say that the fans of K-pop is increasing daily by daily, which is a great advantage apparently for our bilateral relations, because more knowledge in both countries about Azerbaijan and Korea is definitely creating more opportunities. And recently, before pandemic time, we observed that many people started to visit our Azerbaijan and our South Caucasus region overall. Yearly, in accordance to our statistics, about 20% were increased in terms of the number of tourists visiting Azerbaijan. And I'm happy to say that this exchange of visits definitely brings more cultural knowledge of Korea to Azerbaijan.
When it comes to Korea, first of all, it comes with the quality. And the people in our part of the world, when something is translated in terms of its, we are touching either product and the daily utilities, so on and so forth, it comes with the quality. And I think that how His Excellency, Mr. Ramzi Teymurov mentioned, like it's not about these huge companies which are entered not only in our part of the world but global market like that. There is when it comes to the Korea, for the Georgian perspectives, it comes with the history, because Korea is the 5,000 years old country with its language, which is very important as well, and your heritage and culture is very important for us. And when it comes to the democracy and when it comes to the values, there is so many things in common we share between each other. And I think that both Georgia and Korea, we are situated in the crossroads of the big empires as well. And this is another very important milestone in our cooperation, because that we are sharing so many moments in our history books. But when it comes to the drama as well, I think that and some other things, K-pop, of course that it facilitates like that increasing the awareness of the Korea in our part of the world.
Thank you. 이만큼 한국의 위상이 올라갈 수 있었던 것은 그동안의 신북방 정책의 일환으로 많은 정책들이 성공적으로 착수되어 있기 때문이라고 생각하는데요. 테이무로프 대사님께서는 한국과의 이 협력을 추진하는 과정에서 가장 기억에 남는 정책이 무엇인가요?
I must highly appreciate the efforts of the Korean government so far in 30 years. Azerbaijan was part of ODA receiving priority country for almost 10 years. And during that period, we examined that we experienced a lot of Korean know-how, which Korean government shared with the Republic of Azerbaijan in terms of development. Jointly, we hosted many programs and projects in terms of information technologies, in terms of water management and so on. So I would like to highlight this special episode in our bilateral relations, and I think there are more opportunities still exist. Korea is a highly developed country, but as we live in the common world, I think, and as we enjoy the friendly relations between our two countries, I think sharing more know-how and sharing more experiences of Republic of Korea to Azerbaijan would be very helpful, not in terms of the benefits of Azerbaijan economy and Azerbaijani people, but in terms of our bilateral relations as well.
Thank you.
And I would like to use this opportunity to thank to the Korean people during the global pandemic when it's erupted like that. Korea was one of the first countries who supported the Georgian people and sending the testing kits to us. And I would like to express highly appreciation to the President Moon's administration in this regard, because this was very vital. Besides these geographical distances, we feel that how these Korean people helped us in this regard. But when it comes to the ODA, how Mr. Teimuro mentioned, and some other important projects which is running throughout the South Caucasus, of course it's very important, but of course there is a lot of directions which still we have the blank page relations, and we have to fill out this. And I think that we have so many things to learn from each other when it comes to the e-governance, when it comes to the anti-corruption policy, when it comes to the easing of doing business. We have so many things that we are achieving, and we could cooperate. And I think that I would like to emphasize one very interesting part of it in the dimension policy, that Korean investments are playing the crucial role in our part of the world. And I think that we have to create the success story in this regard. We have in energy sector, one of the biggest company, K Water, is investing, and we think that it's going to be the successful model of the cooperation, and therefore we have very bright future in terms of the attracting the more businesses and more people-to-people connections between our countries and between our regions.
조지아의 경우는 작년 5월에 한국과 항공협정을 체결했습니다. 조지아가 워낙 자연풍광이 아름답기로 유명한 나라인 만큼 아마도 이제 코로나 팬데믹이 끝나면 여행객들이 폭주를 할 겁니다. 항공협정 이후에 기대되는 건 어떤 게 있을까요?
And I would like to emphasize that one of the biggest achievements as an ambassador, what working here, like it was that we organized the 36 charter flights from Incheon to Tbilisi in the last 5 years, and I think that it's going to continue. That's why that we signed this agreement, and we have the big, bright future ahead of us. I think that more Koreans will visit and more Koreans will explore the new adventure story in our part of the world. When it comes to the Georgia and when it comes to the Azerbaijan.
아제르바이잔 경우는 코이카 사업으로 카흐리즈 물 공급 시설 복원 사업을 하고 있는데요. 이게 상당히 의미 있는 것 같습니다. 코이카가 지원하는 카흐리즈 물 공급 시설 복원 사업에 대해서 어떤 견해를 갖고 계신지?
This is one of the major projects that KOICA implemented in Azerbaijan. Kahriz are the water supplies that unfortunately they are very eco-friendly. They were disappeared in 1960s due to the lack of infrastructure. But thanks to the KOICA and its efforts and its technical assistance, we rediscovered those Kahriz water supplies out of the ground. And today, more than 30,000 people are having access to the fresh water thanks to this project. And it has also another cultural aspect of this project, because the Kahriz has a cultural heritage in Azerbaijan. And by using this opportunity, I would like to thank both KOICA and Korean government for implementing this important project in Azerbaijan.
한국은 IT 강국이지만 사실 지하 자원이 매우 부족한 그런 나라입니다. 반대로 이제 아제르바이잔은 지하 자원이 매우 풍부하죠. 그렇지만 IT 산업은 지금 성장 과정에 있는 걸로 알고 있습니다. 이와 관련해서 양국의 어떤 분야를 중점 협력 사업으로 하는 게 좋을 것 같습니까?
The IT in terms of this field is very important, and we see a lot of potentials for development of IT sector in the Republic of Azerbaijan. And especially in terms of e-governance, we can manage it, and in terms of eco-friendly other IT-related projects can be interesting for Azerbaijan. And in that term, I think we have new opportunities for both our countries, because as you may know, after 2020 war with neighboring Armenia, Azerbaijan returned and reestablished its territorial integrity, and we have now a huge area which is waiting our reconstruction, and we are planning to create eco-friendly industrial zones in those liberated territories, and I think participation of Korean companies in those eco-friendly zones, free trade zones or free economic zones, can be an interesting project for both of our countries.
조지아는 청정에너지 분야나 기타 분야에서 한국하고 협력할 수 있는 와인이나 이런 관광을 제한, 나머지 분야는 어떤 분야가 있는지 의견을 듣고 싶습니다.
Thank you very much. Like that, they are so interested about like increasing our relations, like in the various dimensions. As I said, that the potential is so huge that we could start from the tiny, ending with the biggest mega projects like it. But especially when it comes to the diplomatic relations like that, we are looking forward to elevate the presence of the Korean diplomatic mission in Georgia, and we are looking forward to see the embassy, establishing the embassy in Georgia, which will facilitate all what we have been speaking today. Because that without the embassy on the ground, things are running, but I think that it will be the very important asset in terms of the deepening our relations.
방금 대사님께서 지적하듯이 한국 대사관이 아직 개설 안 되는으로 인해서 여러 가지 양국 간의 협력에 장애인들이 많은 걸로 알고 있습니다. 앞으로 조만간에 한국 대사관이 개설이 되도록 같이 협력했으면 합니다. 과거 30년만큼이나 앞으로의 30년도 중요한데요. 대한민국의 수교국으로서 앞으로 기대되는 점이나 마지막으로 하고 싶은 말씀이 있으실까요?
As I mentioned before, our relations has uniqueness with the Republic of Korea, and we are sharing the cultural similarities as well as historical similarities, as well as language-based similarities with the Republic of Korea. And as you know, we belong to the same language group with the Republic of Korea. And while my stay here, I saw a lot of similarities in terms of family traditions and many others. So I think those common interests and those common similarities will definitely bring us out of this crisis, as well as will create more opportunities for our bilateral relations. And finally, as I wanted to mention that, as I mentioned, the restoration of the Karabakh region is creating a very good opportunity for our further bilateral relations. And I think incoming the new administration of the Republic of Korea, as well as Azerbaijani side, in the other hand, we should get together and to find out what we can do more to bring up this opportunity for further and better cooperation between our two countries.
저도 전적으로 동감입니다. 사실 대한민국은 가장 짧은 기간, 전 세계에서 가장 짧은 기간의 산업화와 민주화와 그리고 세계화를 이룬 나라입니다. 지금 아제르바이잔 경우에는 이러한 그 한국의 모델이 매우 중요한 걸로 저희들도 생각하고 있습니다. 앞으로 양국 간의 협력을 하는 과정에서 많은 상호 이익이 되는 그런 분야들이 있는 걸로 되고 앞으로 같이 협력해 나갈 수 있기를 기대합니다.
Mr. Ramzi Teimurov mentioned that we are not the part of the same language family members. So Georgian is the unique language. We are among the 14 oldest languages in the planet. And I would like to say that among these oldest 14 languages, Korean is the youngest among the oldest. And I think that we have so many things in common, so many things. We have the survival DNA. We feel what does it mean to be living in the crossroad of the big empires. But we still, both of all our nations are trying for the peace in the Korean Peninsula, peace in Ukraine, peace in Georgia, peace in Azerbaijan.
신북방국 12개 국가의 수교 30주년을 기념해서 아제르바이잔의 테이무로프 주한대사님과 조지아의 오타르 베르제니쉬빌리 주한대사님을 모시고 지금까지 이 이야기를 나눠봤는데요. 오늘 귀한 시간 내주신 두 분께 감사드립니다. 한국에 머무시는 동안 한국의 아름다운 문화와 따뜻한 정을 많이 느끼시기를 바랍니다. 빨리 가려면 혼자 가고 멀리 가려면 같이 가라는 말이 있습니다. 어느 국가도 성장이라는 것은 단순히 빨리 가기보다는 기반을 탄탄히 다지며 멀리 가는 것이 더욱 중요한데요. 대한민국은 앞으로도 신북방 국가들과 협력하고 교류함으로써 새로운 성장 동력을 창출해 나갈 것입니다. 수교 30주년을 지나 300주년을 맞이하는 그날까지 신북방 정책에 대한 국민 여러분들의 많은 관심을 부탁드립니다. 지금까지 영상을 시청해 주신 여러분들께 감사드립니다. 감사합니다. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.